Tuesday, February 17th meeting of the Prairie City Council will now come to order. I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open podium is an opportunity for Eden Prairie residents to address the council on issues related to Eden Prairie city government before each council meeting. Typically, our council meetings are held the first and third Tuesdays of each month, and the open podium period of time is from approximately 6:30 to 6:55. Today we started a little bit late and ran a little bit over the 6:55 time frame. If you wish to speak at open podium, please contact the city manager's office at 949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, your phone number, and the subject matter you wish to discuss. If time permits, after scheduled speakers are finished, as today, I will open up the floor to unscheduled speakers. Open podium is not recorded or televised. If you have questions, again, please contact the city manager's office. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda and other items of business?
Move approval.
Second.
Any items to add to the agenda? I have a couple of things I'd like to add under council members' reports. Does anybody else have anything to add? Okay. All in favor of the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes from the council workshop held Tuesday, February 3rd?
Move approval.
Second.
Any items to correct in those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes from the council meeting held that same date, Tuesday, February 3rd?
So moved. Second.
Any items to correct in those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion for approval of the consent calendar?
Move approval.
Second.
Any items to pull for discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. First public hearing is a resolution approving a modified tax increment finance plan for District Number 16 and Amendment Number 4 to the Project Management Agreement. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You may recall from the January 20th meeting we had two TIF districts on that agenda that we were asking for approval of a management agreement so we could extend these districts to continue to offer affordable housing, a mixture, a small percentage of affordable housing within these developments. This particular TIF District 16, Lincoln Park Apartments, we ask that you allow some more time for the city and the developer to work out final negotiation and agreement and to continue the public hearing to this meeting. We have found that we still need some more time. So the action that we're requesting tonight is to continue the public hearing once again to the March 31st City Council meeting.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Getchell? Do we have a motion on this?
Yeah, move to continue the public hearing on the resolution approving modified tax increment financing plan District Number 16 and Amendment Number 4 to the Project Management Agreement to the March 31st, 2015 City Council meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. The next public hearing is to amend the PUD and development agreement for the apartments at City West. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a request for an amendment to a planned unit development agreement on 13.5 acres and a zoning district amendment on the same amount of acreage at 6418, 6425, and 6434 City West Parkway. The official notice of the public hearing was published in the February 5th edition of the Eden Prairie News and sent to 12 property owners and was also considered at the January 26th meeting of the Planning Commission. This particular issue relates to a trail construction and trail easement project that is happening in and around the Optum property and this particular property as well on City West Parkway. And in return for acquiring the easements that are necessary for the trail project that would cut through and cut in and have conflict with the parking lot at the apartment complex, the city worked out an agreement for a PUD waiver in this case, where the parking stalls that were affected could either be relocated or in this case possibly two of them that may not be required per the agreement that we have from 1985. Actually, the action would be to, amend the approvals from 1985 so the project would have 5 less parking stalls than were depicted at that time for the purpose of being able to have this trail project go through at the time. This does allow the site then to remain in conformance with all city approvals and to move forward with the Shady Oak Trail project. And then, as I mentioned, at that planning commission of January 26, a commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of the project, and then this particular waiver to amend the PUD. And then this is a public hearing, but staff is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions for staff, council? Mr. Aho.
The only question I would have is the apartment complex ownership, amenable? It sounds like they are to losing these spots, and it doesn't really impact their residents.
Yeah, that's correct, council member. They actually asked if we would consider the waiver, and they wanted to avoid any sort of cloud of title issues later on. So instead of trying to create, trying to make that change now, we decided to go back and amend the development agreement so it's as though they've always been in conformance. It will avoid potential title issues in the event the property sells in the future.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the audience who wants to address the council on this amendment?
Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing and approve first reading of the ordinance for planned unit development district review with waivers and zoning district amendment within the RM 2.5 zoning district on 13.5 acres, and direct staff to prepare an amendment to the development agreement incorporating staff and commission recommendations and council conditions.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
The motion passes. Payment of claims. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any items to question? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Aho.
Aye.
Councilmember Butcher-Wickstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Mayor Terrell-Lukens.
Aye. Okay, we're on to item 9, reports, and I did have 2 things that I wanted to bring up. The first thing was a very nice letter that I received from our Cushman and Wakefield representatives that we'd worked with on the leasing of property here to SuperValue. And the letter is signed by John McCarthy and Larissa Champo, who worked with our city real estate team. And it's a long 2-page letter. I will circulate it, but it's just giving a lot of praise to the city staff that was on the real estate team. Rick Getcho, David Lindahl, Paul Stika, Janet Jeremiah, Steve Snell, Sue Cheever, and the city attorney. And I just want to read some of the sections of this because it's very complimentary to all of you. They said that it's often hard to deal with cities and their staff, but that our city and our staff shattered the stereotype of trying to work with municipalities. The real estate team that Rick Getcho designated for this assignment truly proved to be a difference maker in getting SuperValue to be the next tenant at Eden Prairie City Center. He also praised Mr. Meet and Greet Dave Lindahl, who was able to leverage his strong relationships with the business community, and his involvement, his reputation within the community gave SuperValue a resource not found in typical real estate transactions. Paul Stika, a.k.a. Superman, was marvelous in dealing with the extra nuances associated with bringing a building back to the market for the first time in 20 years. Janet Jeremiah assured that the city's interests were protected in many ways. She was a stickler for making sure that the remaining vacancies had sufficient parking and wouldn't encroach on the stalls committed to City Hall, Police Department, and School District. Suka Cheever constantly kept the team informed and up to date on the financial impact of the deal as it rotated, pivoted, and evolved. Her attention to detail helped to correct some math errors that came up along the way and helped them to avoid any unpleasant surprises that tend to occur late in transactions and cause delays. Steve Snell was a jack of all trades and surprised us many times with his knowledge and understanding of occupancy costs, operating expenses, and lease negotiations. And he said last but certainly not least, City Attorney Rick Rosso. He's gone on vacation, so we probably won't we won't let him know all these words of phrases, so come back with a really big head. And his legal team of experts helped to get the deal to completion. We've worked with a lot of law firms over the years, but never experienced the service and commitment that Mr. Rosso provided. He may have earned a spot in the world record book by getting a lease drafted, negotiated, redrafted, signed by both parties, and approved by a city council in less than a week. So I will circulate this, but just a wonderful, very detailed letter praising our staff for their excellence in dealing with leasing of the city center space. So thank you to Mr. McCarthy and Ms. Champo for providing that letter, and thank you to staff for doing such an excellent job. The other thing that I want to bring up, and I think that I had brought it up before, and that is the idea of having kind of a city award for excellence in landscaping and lighting and things like that. And this is something that many cities do. Some cities do different types of awards. There was an article in the paper that Duluth is giving out a Snow Angel Award to people that are in their city who help elderly people by shoveling their sidewalks. So cities tend to give out awards for things like that to help promote what they'd like to see within the city. And I was talking with Mr. Getchell about this, and in the city that he had previously served as city manager, Hopkins, they had a program like this. They called it the Community Image Award. And the idea is that a business, a multifamily residence, or a single-family resident could win this award for making improvements to exterior landscaping, accessibility improvements, lighting, signs, or exterior improvements, the kinds of things that we'd like to see our businesses and our residents and our apartment complexes do all the time. Have nice plantings, maintain things, just to put a great face on the community and make it obvious that this is a wonderful place to live and work. It could be the kind of thing where there isn't an award in every category every year if there's not something that the committee deems worth an award. But I'm wondering if you have enough interest in this that it's something that we could pass off to one of our commissions to perhaps look into and flesh out what a program could look like. And this would be something that would be like a really no-cost or low-cost, extremely low-cost things for the city. I think, do you even remember what you had budgeted?
I think, Mayor, it was basically, in addition to staff time, which again, it was a once-a-year contest, were the awards themselves.
Yeah.
So it's very minimal
cheap.
budget.
Yeah. So if there's interest, should I have Mr. Getchell look into that some more? Okay.
Sounds good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilmember Butcher Wickstrom?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's such a great way to get citizen engagement and involvement, to get to know your neighbors and get to know more about the city when you do something like this.
Right, and
Yeah.
maybe it would be a new committee or a new task force that's brought forth just for supervising this,
Yeah.
get more people involved.
It's a great idea.
Okay. All right, thank you. Report of the Community Development Director, Ms. Jeremiah.
Your Honor, council members, staff is recommending the city's involvement for the 4th year in the Open to Business program. And you may remember in the past, Rob Smoland has come before you to give updates about the program. And he's unavailable this evening, but it's still being operated through the Metropolitan Consortium of Community Developers. And in addition to the city's participation of $5,000 a year, that's matched by Hennepin County, so we're leveraging county funds for this program as well. It's continued to be very successful, with most of the information being given through the city, or the context coming through the city's advertising on the website. And in 2014, the program helped 18 businesses in Eden Prairie, including 11 new entrepreneur startup companies and 5 existing businesses in 11 different areas and types of businesses. So it's really helping a diverse type of business and bringing more services to Eden Prairie. The program also facilitated financing of over $150,000 in loans that leveraged $1.2 million in capital, and retained or created 91 jobs in Eden Prairie. And that's just 2014. So staff is recommending continuation of this program through 2015, and I'll certainly answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Councilmember Wickstrom.
Yes, I love this effort, homegrown effort. It's terrific. And I think it doesn't supplant anything Small Business Administration does. I think this is truly something that's sort of Main Street America. So I like that. But what I was going to ask you is, I know we have a very large percentage of businesses that are in their homes here, sort of cottage industry. And when I hear that number, I'm always very pleased to see that people will start something here. Do you remember what that is? What percentage of businesses? Now, we have something like 2,800 businesses.
Right, and we believe that close to 30% are actually operated out of the home. And of course, those would be mostly our very smallest businesses, but still just thinking of the impacts, the positive impacts on commuting, to be having people work out of their homes and all the services that we have in close proximity. It's really a nice option for people in Eden Prairie to have. And I'm glad you brought that up. We are planning to market more specifically to the home businesses this year, because we do see that as a great opportunity to help them potentially expand and grow their businesses.
Well, just for an example, one of our wonderful businesses here, Stratasys, actually was started in the home of the Crumps in their garage, just like Medtronic. So this is a wonderful beginning, and I think a really great idea. I very much support this.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Great program. I've only spoken personally to one person who's used it, and they thought it provided a lot of great information. It was very helpful, so it's a good program. And we have a resolution here.
I would move to adopt the resolution supporting the city's participation in the Open to Business program and committing to funding 1/2 of the cost, or $5,000.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any other business? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.